Hello, dear friends. Psalm 37:10-13 says, "A little while longer, and the wicked will be no more. You will search for them and not find them. But the humble will inherit the earth and enjoy peace and prosperity." Opinion piece. End of known world. New system. This is a war. Change of life. There is a plan. Malthusian myths. Attraction to doom. Misplacement of souls. Madness is omnipresent. 60,000 resignations. Let's start. The end of the known world is a concept that refers to the profound changes and radical transformations that are occurring in our society, technology, and environment. This term does not imply an apocalyptic catastrophe, but a series of significant changes that are altering our way of life. Adapting to these changes will be crucial to navigating this new global landscape. The world as we know it is about to end, according to Porter and Co. Most of what you think you know is simply not the case. It's a difficult fact for most people to accept. But if you are honest about your own beliefs, you will recognize how everything you thought you knew for sure turned out to be wrong over the course of your life. A great example of this is the never-ending Malthusian myths that people for some reason always seem to embrace, even though they are always ridiculously wrong in their predictions. Meanwhile, the real problem with the developed world is that we don't have enough children. Good pilots know that the plane will eventually break down. They know that sooner or later the unexpected will happen, and that the weather forecast will be wrong. Likewise, good investors know that the least expected thing will most likely happen next. The coming revolution is not a technological one like the internet revolution. The coming revolution is physical. Virtually everything in our economy is structured around facilitating knowledge work, and all of that work is about to disappear. So the world as we know it is about to end. New system. Life change according to Kerry Kay. We are now moving into a higher reality, ending one realm and beginning a new one. As we leave the false matrix, it will feel as if our old life is ending, or as if we are being asked to leave something behind. According to Joe Lange, people are realizing there is a plan, and the evidence of it is being revealed multiple times each day. People are realizing that there are many actions going on in the background, and that they have been going on since Trump took office in 2017. It is becoming clearer every day that we are watching a play. Everything is planned and timed. They are laying the groundwork for the new system. According to Steve Biko, the Federation of Light has told us that we will not have to wait too long before things begin to improve, but we are now at war to resolve the problems they have left us with, and to establish new economic and political arrangements that will transform the lives of the world's population. We will face many challenges in the future to know what is true and what is not. It is time for the freedom convoys to be restarted, to force the dark side to retreat and abandon their false and divisive tactics. Steve Biko channels President Trump in quotes. "I am a man in a hurry. I have 4 years to rebuild the world as I can imagine. I see it. I have done this all my life. I will not have a third term. It would be wonderful and really helpful if people could stop the fighting. They are like children. terrible really, and see if we stop all the fraud and corruption and stop the nefarious criminal activities that are going on right now, primarily with our children, we would have the resources and the renewed spirit to rebuild all countries. Will you put aside the fighting and join me in creating that new Earth? Maybe we can do it in 4 years. Opinions. Russia cannot negotiate with Europe because Europe doesn't want peace, Lavrov said. Whoever does not sit at the table is part of the menu, said Harlequin. Russia and the US propose a peace plan that requires Ukraine to hold new elections. Zelensky attacks Western pipeline as US-Russian talks begin. Trump deploys special forces to Mexico, Sorchaval says. Special forces prepare for operations in Mexico against narcoterrorism. Names. Postmaker General Luis de Joy is stepping down. Cash battle passes key Senate confirmation vote. Howard Lutnick confirmed as Commerce Secretary. RFK Jr. fires 1,300 scientists who designed bioweapons. 60,000 federal employee resignations so far. According to Paul Craig Roberts, the time has come to shut down the brothel that is the traditional media. Collop, X22 report. The dark side fell into Trump's trap. Now they call him a tyrant. It's the opposite. He's dismantling the tyrannical shadow government. The system is crumbling and the rats are abandoning ship. In the end, the deep state will cease to exist, and this was planned a long time ago. Fears of a housing market collapse in Washington, D.C., as netizens claim that thousands of residents are selling their homes and leaving the city. According to Ezra's Shadow, a church in Dallas, Texas, hosted a drag show where the drag queen threatened to kill anyone who voted for Trump. These people are sick. Marco Rubio silenced Margaret Brennan after she claimed the Holocaust happened because of an excess of free speech. Rubio noted that the Nazi regime abolished free speech. Gold. Andy Shetman reveals Trump's secret wars against London, involving the repatriation of gold and the revaluation of gold currency that will take the world by storm. The call to audit Fort Knox is getting louder, and gold is being shipped from London to New York. Why? Elon Musk wants to videotape the gold vaults at Fort Knox. The question is whether there is gold or not. The golden rule is that he who has the gold makes the rules. Currencies. Bitcoin, a digital dystopia, according to Scipio Erudite. What at first glance seems like a revolutionary system of decentralized finance foreshadows a future in which the state could exercise unprecedented power over individual economic behavior. Blockchain technology is a powerful but underutilized forensic tool for governments to identify illicit activity and bring criminals to justice, said Michael Morrell. Can we cut half of the military budget? Sure, Dr. Ron Paul says. Maintaining this global military empire has bankrupted us and made us less safe and less free. We can start by closing the hundreds of military bases abroad, bringing our troops home from foreign countries, and eliminate our huge commitments to NATO and other international organizations. We will be richer, safer, and happier. Democracy. According to Elon Musk, if any judge anywhere can stop any presidential action anywhere, we don't live in a democracy. Safe democracy is a code phrase for a club of delusional people who belong to a group that does delusional things to justify their delusions, said Wendy Williamson. According to George Eaton, it is a double-edged sword, the revolution to bring sanity back to government and end corruption, bribery and fraud. It reveals large-scale corruption, but it also exposes the corruptors and puts an end to their scams. The stage is set for a massive earthquake to be unleashed in political and financial circles that will leave the earth shaken by aftershocks for years to come. Fulford Preview. According to Benjamin Fulford, the new avatars of Trump and Musk are continuing the revolution with the white hats who have regained control of the White House and replaced the dark avatars. That is why the second revolution is now underway. The new White House now says that the federal government loses between $233 billion and $521 billion a year fraud. Ending this fraud will defund the deep state. A hint at how much waste needs to be cut. In fiscal year 2022, the federal government spent nearly $300 billion on civilian employee compensation, not counting pensions, and yet, according to a recent congressional report, only 6% of federal workers show up to work in person full-time. Now, the Doge Squad is operating with military precision, executing intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance to map, track, and expose the entrenched corruption within federal bureaucracies. Every bureaucratic takedown, financial exposure, and legal reckoning accelerates the collapse of deep state administrative control, paving the way for the restoration of constitutional governance. This is war, not with bullets, but with intelligence, exposure, and strategic dismantling of the enemy's operational base. Vice President Vance announced a US-Russian alliance against the Davos Nazis who took control of the West. This prompted Macron to call an emergency meeting of his favorite leaders in Paris. They are panicking because Trump is preparing to take control of the world financial system for them. Reflections. No dream is too big. No challenge is too great. Nothing we want for our future is beyond our reach, said President Trump. According to Poet Dog, there is darkness thrilling in the steam vents of urban dystopia and riding the midnight jet streams. It is looking for a place to land. That thrilling darkness has fragmented into thousands of tiny black tornadoes that are engines of compressed anger seeking to break loose as soon as the wrong person casts a disapproving glance at the right person. According to Poet Dog, madness is omnipresent. Every living being is drawn to its doom. An adjustment of consciousness is required to stop the process. The mind convinces itself that the form will endure, but it never does. It is a clay sculpture that is never finished, because it is always changing, as it is shaped by invisible hands. There are realized beings who walk this earth and have divine power, because God resides within them. But the world continues as it always has, because we only see what happens within a very limited time frame. Most of us don't understand what is happening. Look at history. It is the record of the prolonged abuse we have inflicted on one another. Puffness said, "The news is that all bets are off. Nothing is in sight. There are no clear lines of communication, and no one wants to bet on what will ultimately make the moves. The bankers are heading out, staying out of the spotlight. The mass of underlings doing the preliminary legwork are unsure of what is happening, or why the blockades are occurring. Things that were resolved months ago. We will say that there has been little due diligence of party meetings, little time has been spent here, because this is not a major player in their minds and has never been intended to be paid from the start. It will be, but not yet. There are layers of debt to dig through. People who have stayed silent for no reason. At least we are happy to report that all the media lawyers of information have collapsed. It is safe to say that the funds are still safe. So see it for what it is. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.